How are you guys doing today? Good. Semester's halfway over. You had Dr. Hodnett, and now you get to talk about money. So that's good. Who in here likes money? All right, who's not? You don't like money? You do? Okay, you just don't want to raise your hand? All right. So you like money. Who wants to have more of it? Okay, this is good. You guys are in the right place. So this mini-mester is 1 credit, right? It's an elective. Hopefully Dr. Hodnett announced that you can learn how to manage your money better, make more money, earn more money, save more money, invest, graduate with less debt, etc. because of this class. So although it's only 1 credit and it's elective, I think if you listen and actually implement some of the things we talk about in this class, it can be one of the most worthwhile classes you take at the university. So, I've taught this for 3 years. In the last 2 years, I did 2 sections. And the first section, which was this one, usually had about 110 people in it. And then the second session had about 70. And you could kind of come to either one. And so I have a lot going on this semester. So I said, you can have other people teach the other sections if you want, but I'm only going to do the one section. People usually all end up by the end of the semester in this section anyways, and I have like 20 people in the other section. So, and then there's only like 60 of you. So I don't know what happened or if people aren't interested in money this semester or what's going on. But if you know people in the other classes and they want to learn more about money, this is going to be, it's a 1 credit, so it's fairly easy. We're not going to be doing a lot of homework and things. It's really to come here and your grade's mostly on attendance because we're going to be talking here how to save you money, invest your money, understand loans and debt, etc. Does that make sense? So it's supposed to be super useful, not very hard, can be a lot of fun, especially if you like money. So if there's anybody else you think that likes money, that wants to learn more about money, invite them to come and it should be good. All right, we're all in the right place. ACES 121, right? Financial fitness? Okay, good. So I'm actually trying something new this semester. This is a little GoPro 7 black that I just got. I'm in extension. Most of you know what extension is since you're in the ag college, right? And I teach around the state on money management, personal finance, family finance, and kind of life success principles, right? Goal setting, time management, productivity, things like that. So we'll do some of that at the very end. But people in the past have kind of missed classes, and I wanted to record these in case they wanted to watch the recording. If any of you have to miss a class in the future, then this will be available for you. You won't get the attendance points, but you can watch it for kind of, there's a final exam, and it's fairly easy if you're in class. And so if you miss a class, you can watch it, and then you'll get 100% on the exam. Make sense? So we're going to be recording. It's only really getting me in the screen, so it doesn't really get you guys. So no worries about that. All right, so we're going to go over a couple of quotes, and then we're going to look at the syllabus. Sorry for sending that out so late. Over this last is fall break for my kids. I've got 5 kids, and we were at Disneyland. So I wasn't motivated to get it up and running for you guys. But Disneyland was fun, and nobody died, so that's good. All right, so rich people stay rich by living like they're broke. Broke people stay broke by living like they're rich. Anybody want to share interpret that or share what they think that means? In my class, we participate a lot. I don't know in Dr. Hodnett's what you did, but we can learn from each other. So if you have good ideas about money or questions or things, be sure to ask those. So what do you think this means to you? There's no right or wrong answer necessarily.
They're saving their money instead of showing it off.
You what?
They're saving their money instead of showing it off.
Okay, so saving their money instead of showing it off. What were you going to say?
Not being responsible.
Not being responsible? Yeah, so if the people that are broke live like they're rich, they're not being responsible with their money. So when I was in college, your guys' age, and through until I graduated, I helped families get out of debt. I did a debt elimination program. I was a loan officer as well and helped people with mortgage loans. And so I'd go around, and whether people were making $35,000 a year or $350,000 a year, those people could still be either living great and building wealth or living paycheck to paycheck. How could somebody earning $350,000 versus a family that's the same size earning $40,000 be living paycheck to paycheck? A lot of debt, right? Because they're living like they're super rich and they're spending all their money. In fact, you guys know any maybe celebrities or sports athletes or different things that make a lot of money, whether in golf or tennis or soccer or football or basketball or whatever it is, and they make millions and millions of dollars a year, and yet their net worth is like $2 million because they like to spend it, right? People like to spend it. So we tend to spend what we earn unless we do something different. So unless you control your money, making more won't help. You'll just have bigger payments, more debt. Does this make sense? So wherever you are in life, whatever you're earning, you can manage your money wisely, more wisely than you are now. And then as you earn more money, you can continue to manage it wisely. Because a lot of people in your situation or that don't make a lot say, if I could just blank, or if I could just get a raise, then I would have the money I need. If I could just pay off this car loan, then I'd have this. But guess what? It never happens because it's a mindset. You're either mentally broke, and so you're going to, whether you make $300,000 or you're making $12,000 a year, you're going to be broke. So we need to change the mindset and get you guys thinking about, how do I become mentally rich, right? How can I live my life so that I am building wealth and can become a millionaire quickly rather than spend all my money and don't have any assets at the end? Does this make sense? All right, you will win with money when you decide that your family's future or your own is more important than any new toy you want to buy. So let me ask you an uncomfortable question. I used to be a 99 Honda Civic that was nice and beat up with 190,000 miles on it. But now my son has that one, so I upgraded to a 2009 Toyota Corolla, paid $3,600 cash for that. How many of you in here that are probably taking student loans or, not super wealthy, probably, have maybe a car payment and maybe a big truck payment? Anybody? Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to pick on you guys this semester. Especially when we get to debt and cars. So we tend to want things now. That's the living like we're broke. So hopefully we can help change your mindset. All right, here's my family. Anybody know where this is? Nobody knows where this is? Come on. Southern Utah. Bryce Canyon. Yeah, anybody know my first name? Bryce. You guys are smart. All right, so here's Bryce at Bryce Canyon, my family. So this is a few years ago. My oldest now is a senior at Oñate. Caleb, Lucy, then James, Annabelle, William. And it's 17, 15, 13, 11, and 9. Boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. So if you want to learn how to do that, you have to take my human sexuality class. That was a joke. Okay. So we're going to be talking about building wealth today, but before we do that, I wanted to go over the syllabus a little bit just to make sure that we know and we're on the same page. Did you guys get the syllabus from the email I sent? You probably didn't have time to look over it or anything. That's fine. That's why we're doing it now. All right. I guess before we get to the syllabus, I like to kind of introduce myself a little bit. So I like a lot of things. I have some Airbnb properties. I invest in real estate. I have some long-term properties. I do some kind of flips. I invest in cryptocurrency as well as the stock market. Like I said, I help families get out of debt. I'm currently a loan officer in New Mexico and help people with those loans. I'm a life coach and a financial counselor, help couples and families as well with life type things as well as finances. Got my pilot's license when I was 15, fly around by myself. I have a motorcycle I drive, and then I love scuba diving, and I lead student tours around doing study abroad. And I used to do college study abroad tours until this year, which I switched to high school since my kids are now in high school. And you guys have enough options here. There's not very many options in southern New Mexico. So In spring break, I'm leading a tour to Europe for high schoolers. Of course, if you want to go, you can come. Maybe the guys can hit on the senior high school girls. I don't know. And then, and then June 1 through 10th, we're going to Costa Rica. So that's a little bit about me. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask about me? You don't have to. If you do, throughout the rest of the semester, let me know. A lot of these things that I have are for my other 3 credit classes. So, and I already asked you about if you like money and things. So let me ask you a couple of questions. If you've thought about this, if not, try to think about it now. What is it at the end of the day, say we're at the end of the semester, and you've come to every class and listened and participated. What are you hoping? You signed up for this class, and hopefully don't answer if it's just, I needed 1 credit of class. Other than that, or easy A, what are you hoping to get out of this class? Let's hear from 1 or 2 people. What do you want to end this class? What's the benefit of coming? Because I don't want to waste your time, and I don't think it's wasteful, but what are you hoping to get out of class? You guys are shy. Raise your hand, and it's easier if you raise your hand. I call on you than speaking up. Come on. Yeah.
Manage money better.
There you go. Wasn't that hard? Manage money better. All right. Good. One more. Manage money better. Yeah. Student loans. Yeah, we're going to do that in 4 days, I think. And student loans are tricky. And I don't want you guys to graduate with tons of debt. So one of the main goals of this class, actually, is to help you graduate with less debt. Because you'll see when we talk about student loans, that opens up a lot of doors for you and options where if you have a lot of student loans and a lot of debt, then a lot of those windows and doors are closed because you're forced to have to start working and getting money to pay off these student loans, where if you don't have that burden, there's a lot more options to you. So hopefully you guys will learn some things to minimize your student loans. Very good. Okay, before I forget though, that clock does not work. That's helpful. Can everybody meet at 12? Multiple people said because this class, the other class before us goes to 12:40 or 11:45, that 12 to 12:50 worked. Is there anybody in here that does not work for? 12 to 12:50. That's what Dr. Hodnett did. Okay, so starting Thursday, today's Tuesday, right? We'll meet at 12, and I'll put that on Canvas and send an email. Just say we're now at 12 o'clock, 12 to 12:50. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, just want to make sure that was going. All right, so if you look at the syllabus, if you don't have it, it's up. You can look at it later. No big deal. I'm not going to put it up here. We don't need to be looking at me anymore. Well, that's me too, but anyway. All right, so you can look through the course description, student learning outcomes. There's some recommended readings. There's no required text in this class. We used to read the 4 Laws of Financial Prosperity. It's a little skinny book that's kind of like a story that teaches you the 4 laws of financial prosperity. So I strongly recommend you read that if you're interested in money and you want to learn how to kind of manage your money a little better. We're going to be talking about some different things, but I also recommend you get that. Again, it's maybe $8 to $12. You get to find it, and then reading it's going to be helpful. So when I do my financial counseling, actually with couples or individuals, and they come to my first appointment, I give them one of those books. I mean, they're paying for it, but I give it to them and say, you need to read this because it'll establish some of the lingo that we need to discuss. And it talks about tracking your spending and plugging some spending leaks and different things. So not required, but it'd be good. Another couple of recommended readings I put on here, Consumer Reports. If you haven't heard of that, it's good just to kind of get on and see. They do comparisons on cars or different, pretty much everything. And you can look and say, okay, I need to buy a vacuum, or I want to buy a new car, I need to buy a washer dryer. And they do Consumer Reports, and it shows the cheapest options, the different options, and how good they hold up over many, many tests. And so that's helpful. Dave Ramsey is a good person to follow on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Do I have anything else on here? So just kind of doing some things that help you touch each day or each week something financially so that you can, again, if you like money and you want to win with money and you want to become wealthy or build some wealth, then taking a little bit of time to learn more about money is helpful. As I go throughout the state and talk with people at conferences and things, people ask me what I do at church or whatever, and I tell them the number one thing they always say is, wow, that's super needed. I wish I would have had that in high school or college. In fact, every college student and high school student should take that. That's way more important than history or some of these classes. And I'm like, yes, I think it is. So you guys are in a class. Again, this is only one credit, and so we can only talk about so many things. But hopefully you'll be able to get some main things out of this class. All right, so the way this class works is you come to class. We have 10 days where we'll actually be meeting and talking. And from those 10 days after, there is a survey. It doesn't take you very long. It's like 5 to 10 minutes. And you should do very well if you are in class. And you can only take, this is how I take attendance, is if you took the survey. You can only take the survey if you're in class. So if I find out that you weren't in class and you took the survey to get points, because there's 15 points for the survey, 15 points for attendance. So if you miss a class, then you miss that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Then, I'm not sure, I can't remember what my policy is. I'll have to look in here. But you get like marked down a grade. So if you had an A, it goes to a B or something. So don't cheat, don't lie. Just the main thing is to learn is to come to class. It's easy, but you just have to show up. And hopefully we're talking about interesting things, so you want to show up. So you come to class, we talk about things, we discuss, and then you have until the next day, I think by midnight. So today is Tuesday. You have till Wednesday at midnight to take the survey on building wealth. Who wants to be a millionaire, right? Again, it only takes 5 to 10 minutes. I would recommend sometime today, if you have 10 minutes, to just click on it and go through and answer the questions. It's a Qualtrics survey, okay? That's most of the points, taking the surveys and attendance. So not very hard. There's also a few days that we're not meeting, and those are on here in italicized and they're bolded in the dates. And so October 24th, which is a week from Thursday, and then the following Tuesday, October 29th, and again, this is all in your syllabus, and I'll remind you on Canvas. And then November 19th and 21st, the first week or the week before Thanksgiving, we won't be meeting. And during those 4 days that we're not meeting in class, there are videos to watch. And so one is on Driving Free and Retiring Rich by Dave Ramsey. Another one is about student loan debts, and there's these different YouTube videos about students, and they've been in a lot of debt or they graduated with little debt and kind of the burden or not burden that they have, so you can kind of get that in your head. And then the next time we meet, we'll talk about student loans. And then before Thanksgiving, minimalism, and we'll talk and happiness. So these are videos, and so you do that, and then there is a journal, and it explains it, but it's just basically one page, 11 or 12 point font on a single space on what you learned in a couple things, and you just post that, okay? So 4 days we're not there. There's videos that are usually shorter. It's going to take you maybe 10 to 20 minutes to watch the videos. And then you can just write the one page up. And so during class time, 12 to 12:50, on those days, I would just watch the videos and do my assignment, then you're done. Does that make sense? So other than that, there's really nothing else except the final exam, which again, you'll ace if you're in class. It's not meant to be tricky or anything. It's just, you'll know it if you come to class. So those are the assignments. Any questions about that?
The surveys are all on campus.
Yep, it's all online. All right. So let's go through this now, and someone's going to have to help me keep time. Let me see if I can. No, yeah. So will you guys tell me, because that clock doesn't work, we started at 11:50, so we go until 12:40. Is that correct? So you give me who wants to give me a 5-minute warning? Can you give me a 5-minute warning? Okay, so 11:30, 12:35. What time is it right now?
12:13.
12:13? Okay. 11:35. So that'd be 11:40. Well, we started at 11:50, because people meet 11:45. So that adds 5 minutes. So that'd be 11:40. So tell me at 35. So we're going till 12:40 today because we started 5 minutes late. And then Thursday, it'll go 12 to 12:50. Does that make sense? Okay. So I usually have my phone over there, but it's using the GoPro, connected to GoPro. So, and again, this is for you guys. So if you miss a class or have to be gone for a university excuse, oh, I forgot one thing with that. Okay. So because it's so many points, if you miss a class, it's 15 points for attendance and 15 points for the survey. That's 30 points. Then if you are gone for any reason and you want to either watch the video or I have alternate assignments and you do those, then you can get half the points back. If it's a university excused absence, like you're part of a team or something, and then you can do the assignment, the alternate assignment, and you submit that on Canvas, and the alternate assignments are on Canvas and have a link, explain what it is. And then you upload the form from the dean of students or whoever it is that gives you the university excused, then you can get full points, right? So you don't need to come and ask me or tell me that somebody is sick or that you're going to visit somebody or unfortunately like grandparent died or something, because none of those, if it's only university excused if you go to the dean of students or whoever it is you go to and get a form that they sign that says Sally is excused, university approved for this date. You upload that, then you can get full points that day. If you don't, you can do an assignment and get half points. Does that make sense? All right. Don't want to do it too much. Okay, let's talk about building wealth. This is a shorter one today. It's been said that man is a rational animal. All my life I've been searching for evidence which could support this. So, what does that mean? A lot of times we think we're rational, but we act irrationally, and especially things that are emotional. And money is emotional, right? Or having stuff. So people that need the brand new iPhone or the new car or big truck or, whatever it is, the coolest pet, You're students, you're in school, you're borrowing money, student loans to live and things, and yet you have a pet that needs like all of these things that are taking hundreds of dollars. Pets are super great, but go and visit your pet at your parents' house. If you're borrowing money, you shouldn't be having a new car or a pet or things that are taking money from your loans, right? If you're self-sufficient and don't borrow any money, feel free to keep your pet and have a new car. But if you pay cash. So, rational person would say, I'm not going to borrow money and then spend part of the money that's going to put me in debt on a pet, or I'm not going to buy a brand new vehicle that's going to cost me $800 a month for a payment when I can't even afford going to school. I have to borrow money. That's what the rational, if you ask any person, rational thinker about money, but we do it because it's emotional. So as we go through, whether it's savings or debt or credit or investing, you'll see that the rational person usually gets overwhelmed by the emotional person financially. All right. This just says the future self will deal with that. So if you guys in your mind through the rest of the semester we're talking, you're thinking, yeah, but when I graduate, it'll be fine, I'll make money, and my future self will deal with that, okay? That's problematic. If you're telling yourself that, stop telling yourself that and deal with it now. So worry about what's going on now and don't push off negative things to the future, hoping that you'll feel more like it tomorrow or your future self will deal with that, okay? So how do you build wealth? There's a huge variation in wealth at every income level. So again, like I said, whether you're making $35,000 a year, $350,000 a year, both can be broke or both can be wealthy. It doesn't really matter that much how much you earn, it matters how much you save. So if you make $35,000 a year but save $2,000 a year and invest it in a Roth IRA over your lifespan of 40 years, you'll retire a millionaire, right? You spent $33,000, you invested and saved $2,000, you're going to become a millionaire. If you earn $350,000 a year and spend $360,000, you're going to be in debt and own nothing, right? You're going to have zero wealth instead of $1 million. So it depends on how much you save. So those who made it a priority to save built wealth regardless of income level, individual circumstances. So again, it doesn't matter if your parents were rich or your parents were poor or you grew up by yourself on the side of the road or whatever. You can still choose, and those who decide that I'm going to earn money and save, build wealth. Or look at this, choice of investment. So when we get to investing and where and how to invest money, if they're actually just doing it and putting money in investments, they build wealth. Versus people that, again, emotionally think, well, yeah, investing would be good, but it's kind of risky and I don't know what to do, so I'll just stick it over here in this bank. It's giving me 0.25% return instead of the stock market average of 10.2%, right? So we'll get to that when we talk about investing. So you need to spend less than you earn. The key is, this is one of the questions. What's the key? Pay yourself first. So what does that mean? If you earn $200 a week, then you pay yourself whatever that is. It could be 10%, 5%. If it's 10%, what's 10% of $200? 20, good. You put that aside and you pay yourself first because that's what you're saving, $20. You don't want to spend everything and then see if there's anything left over at the end and save that, because guess what? Pretty soon there's nothing to save because there's always, you're like, oh, I've got some money left over. Let me buy a motorcycle. Let me go on this vacation to Disneyland, right? That's not how it works. You don't save. So you pay yourself first, $20, and live off the rest, the $180. If you have $200 a week, save first, live off the rest. That's how you build wealth. That's the key. So on the final exam or on the quiz that's coming up, if the question is what's the key to building wealth, it is not spend less than you earn, though that is critical. It is pay yourself first. These kind of mean the same thing, but this is the key. So spending less than you earn is just that. If you pay yourself first and earn 200, and then you spend less than you earn, which is 180, then you're building wealth because you're spending less than you earn, right? You need to track your spending and know where it's going. Has anybody ever done that? Track for a month or a week even, where your money's going, where you're spending every dollar? You've done that? What did you find out? Was there like enlightenment of any way? Where'd you spend your money?
So mostly went to like entertainment and into
Yeah. So my other class, I have taught family consumer sciences or family child sciences 301, which is family finance. We have them do an investing game and all these other things, but they track their money for a month. And you guys are eating your way into debt, going out to eat. All of your money is being spent on going out to eat. Some, depending on who you are, could be entertainment or clothes or things like that. And then too expensive of an automobile, right? So if you could minimize those, track your spending, and the latte factor is kind of plugging spending leaks. So if you go and get a coffee at Starbucks every day, and how much does a coffee or a latte at Starbucks cost? $4 or $5, right? So if you do that 5 days a week, that's $20, $25, right? You do that over the whole year, and you find out that that's hundreds of dollars. And then you say, if I just cut that out or cut it in half, or bought gourmet coffee and made it at home and stopped doing that and invested that money, it'd be like $280,000 when I retired. Is drinking coffee at Starbucks really worth $280,000 when you retire? You have to decide that, right? It's called opportunity cost. So we want to find things that we kind of don't need to do, or that's money that's leaking out of our pockets. And for you guys, mostly it's going out to eat. So if you're, again, borrowing money for school or going to borrow money for school and you're going into debt and you're going out to eat all the time, that's problematic. That's the number one thing that's going to get you into debt. Stop doing that. Buy groceries and eat at home. We'll talk more about that. All right, that's part of needs versus wants. We'll go into more depth in these. This is kind of like an overview of some concepts. So you need to distinguish between needs versus wants. And so is having your pet here at school a need versus a want? I guess if it's your emotional animal, then it's maybe a need. But for most of us, it's a want that you could delay until you graduate, and a lot of the money's going. Is a brand new iPhone or a brand new truck a need or a want, right? Wants. These are wants. Maybe having a cell phone is a need, but not the brand new iPhone 11 or whatever. So if you can do more of your needs and less of your wants, then you minimize the amount you're spending. Again, spend less than you earn. That's hard to do as students when you're borrowing money in student loans, and we'll get more into that. But you can minimize how much you borrow. So when you graduate, instead of graduating with $80,000 or $100,000+ of debt, maybe it's only like $15,000 or $20,000, right? That's manageable instead of 80 grand, which is it's a huge weight on your shoulders after. And then you invest it, right? Building wealth, people invest it. They do Roth IRAs, 401ks, index funds, diversify, et cetera. We'll talk about that, more about that. So we're going to do a time value of money question here. This may also be on your survey after class today. So we have Maria. You're Maria, just for fun. She's 20. She waits 10 years and then invests $2,000 a year for the next 35 years. So from 30 to 65, that's 35 years. That's a total of $70,000 she invested, right? Then we have Marcos over here. He's 20. He's a little, he already took my class. He's doing it again, you know. I'm making this stuff up. This is Marcos. He's going to start investing at 20 just for 10 years until he's 30 and then stop. So he only invested $20,000 from 20 to 30, $2,000 a year is $20,000. Maria waited 10 years and then started. And remember, like my future self will deal with that. I'll start investing like when I'm older, right? So she's invested $70,000 and she did it over 35 years. He did $20,000 for 10 years and then stopped. Didn't put any more money in. They're the same age. When they retire, who's better off? Who has more money? Who thinks Maria? Raise your hand. Come on, participate. Who thinks Marcos? Marcos does by more than $200,000 just by starting early. It's called compound interest and time value of money. It's like a big snowball. Oh, well, I guess we're in New Mexico. You guys seen snow before? Snow gets bigger as you, okay. Just kidding. I'm from Utah, grew up in Utah. So you have a snowball and it starts rolling. It's more and more bigger, right? That's how it works with time. So let's see, I have some of this in here. I'll just show you the chart when we get there. All right, so compounding is mankind's greatest invention because it allows for the reliable, systematic accumulation of wealth. Supposedly Albert Einstein said that. I haven't been able to verify that, but that quote's everywhere with his name on it. So he's a pretty smart guy and he thinks compound interest is pretty awesome. So here's another investment. We're going to talk more about this when we do investing, but another example. We have investor A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, we're going to start over here. E does all of it, so obviously they will make the most money. But D, when they're age 8 years old, so my son's 9, so last year, right, invests $500, then $750, $1,000, $1,250, $1,500, $1,750. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 years. That's $6,750 and then stops, doesn't put any more money in. Investor C starts when they're 14 and goes for 5 years and puts $2,000 in a year, so that's $10,000. Then you got investor B, that's like you guys over here at 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and put $2,000 in for 20 until 26, and then or 19 to 26, then you stop. And then you have investor A, who's 26, I'll do that when I actually get a job, and they do it from 26 all the way to 65 for 40 years. Other than investor E, who do you think has more money when they retire? This is assuming the same compound interest on the money. Who thinks investor D? C? B? A? You guys are not participating. Hopefully you'll wake up by Thursday and participate. All right, D does. D invested $6,750, has $1.26 million, which is 188-fold, or times what he put in, or she. Investor C, 10,000, got 1.17. B, 14,930,000, and then A did 80,000 for 40 years, $2,000, and only got 11-fold, up to almost $900,000. Is $900,000 good? Is that better than 80,000? Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I'd take 900,000 if I only put 80,000 in. But wouldn't you rather have put in less than 7,000 and have 1.3 million? Doesn't that sound better? Yeah. Who likes those numbers? Who wishes that they could give 7,000 and get 1.3 million? I do. So if you did all of it, then they got 4.26 million, right? On only 110,000. So we're going to talk about that. This is building wealth, becoming a millionaire, right? Getting money and using it wisely. If we're spending all of our money now, again, on these things that maybe are need or wants, then that really diminishes the amount of money that our time value of money and compound interest is happening. So when we get to investing, I'll share some easy ways to start investing that's not hard, that you can start doing it today. Yeah? Did you have a question?
Okay, you basically answered it, but I guess what I was asking is, like, how are we supposed to invest when, like, we're like trying to pay for college? Like, we don't have like money to afford like a Roth IRA.
That's a good question, and that's the question that I would expect most of you. But then I turn around and say, do you go out to eat ever? Did you buy a new phone? What are some things that you spend money on, and can you minimize or eliminate any of those? And that's where you find money that you're going to spend anyways to start investing. You can start investing $20 a month, right? Automatically going into these investments. But starting, and we'll talk about this when we get to investing, gets you in the habit of investing, and then you see how it's growing and you get excited and say, guess what? I could actually go, instead of just cut my coffee at Starbucks in half, I could just I'm just going to make it at home, and I'm going to put all of that in there. And then you get excited again. You go, oh, wow, look at all that money. Okay, I'm going to go out to eat less and shop at home and put that extra money in. You see what I mean? And so you need to start the habit of investing while minimizing how much money you're borrowing. So there's a fine amount to that. And we'll get to whether I think you should minimize your debt and or invest, or what that looks like. But we'll get to that when we get to investing. All right, so this is one of the videos you will watch. In my other class, we watch it in class, but that's how we have longer time. Drive Free, Retire Rich. This is, I think, Journal 1 or 2. And it's a short video, but it talks about how you can drive cars for free and retire rich on the same amount of money that most of us are paying to our car loans, our car payment. So another cool idea. All right, how do you build wealth? You pay down debt. So you need to stop the bleeding. So if you're borrowing 100% that's you qualify for in student loans, and then you're like, what? Look at all this money. This is awesome. And then you just like go and take your friends out to drinks and stuff. I don't want to say it in English, so that's estupido. Same word. That's stupid. Don't do that, right? Did you know, and we'll get to this in student loans, but you don't have to accept all the money that you qualify for. Did you guys know that? You can have maybe subsidized and unsubsidized loans, and they say, hey, you get $6,000 on each of these. You can say, I'll take all of my subsidized and only $2,000 of my unsubsidized and leave the other $4,000 because I only need $8,000 because I know where my money goes because I have a budget or a spending plan and I've tracked my money and know where it goes. So I'm not going to take 12 grand, I'm going to take 8 grand so I have less money. Or I'm only going to take 4 grand because I know I've plugged these spending leaks and I'm not going to go out to eat all the time and buy a new truck and stuff like that. So stop the bleeding, stop digging a hole of debt just so you can live. Have you guys ever heard of the term poor college student before? Yeah, that's how you're supposed to be living when you're in college, unless you have a full ride and your parents give you a bunch of money. If you're paying for college and borrowing money, you need to be a poor college student. So I know you're used to living maybe at a higher, different type of living standard when you're with your parents. That's not how you're supposed to live in college, right? If you're borrowing money and you're spending more than you earn, you don't have to just eat rice and beans and ramen every day, but somewhere between that and going out to eat, right? All the time. Am I getting through? Okay. It's your guys' life. I'm trying to help you build wealth, retire rich, minimize student loans, have options, and this is what the millionaires do, right? They don't just go out and spend a bunch of money that they don't have. So credit cards and consumer debt, you pay that down and then you pay off your home mortgage. So George Clayson, he's the one that writes the automatic millionaire, says that which each of us calls are necessary, these are necessary, these expenses are necessary, will always grow to equal our income unless we protest to the contrary. So again, if I'm making $300,000, I need this vacation, I need this new boat, I need this new RV, right? Our necessary expenses just keep going up with our income. And so if you're at 40,000 and your mind, you're mentally poor, is paycheck to paycheck, guess what? If you were earning 300,000, you'd also be paying paycheck to paycheck. You'd still be poor. So we need to change our mindset and protest to the contrary and say, this is not a necessary expense, it's a want, and I don't need it. All right. So spending leaks, we talked a little bit about this. Going out to eat's number one. Alcohol, looking good, candy and goodies, right? So this is debt, and this is you. What time is it? Am I? 12:34? Okay, so I got 6 more minutes. So this is debt, this is you. Is debt scary? Debt is scary. You should see it as a scary thing, not again, my future self will take care of that, right? Think about it now. Think about what it does. On the side that you see the compound interest, how much you earn with compounding interest, it's opposite for debt. So if you have like credit card debt, and we'll talk about this again when we get to debt more in depth. If you have credit card debt and you have $10,000 on it, you're paying minimum payments, that could take you 25 years to pay off, and you'll pay more than double. So if you're have to pay off $20,000 or $10,000 in credit card debt, you could pay over $20,000 total for what you are spending, because of compound interest works the opposite when you're in debt. So we don't want to be paying somebody else's retirement because we're in debt. We want to be out of debt, investing, earning the compound interest. So debt is scary, and if you're not scared of it and you're going into debt, then you need to start getting scared of it. We'll talk more about student loans. So what I just said, the credit card debt takes a lot more out. So this was $5,000, and they had to pay $8,100 to pay their credit card debt off. So that's $1 like 63 or something like that for every. So if you're going to go and you're going to buy a hamburger there's a meal that's $10, and you're putting it on a credit card and you're just paying minimum, or what you're borrowing money for that, it's really not costing $10. It's costing $16.80. That's how much it's costing you. In fact, it's costing you more because you probably, well, I don't know if you're probably not paying taxes right now, but if you're paying taxes, then you have to pay taxes on that earned income, so it's even less money that you have. Instead, you should be investing. So this is what investing does. You put a little bit up, and it grows, 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 and you're like, yay, this is debt. You have all this, and you're paying extra money in interest, which is not good. So talked about the investment snowball. The debt snowball is similar, where you start and you put the smallest amount that you owe to the largest amount. Say you have, and this is how I help people get out of debt. And you put all your extra money, you plug those spending leaks, get all the extra money, and pay off this one debt. And then when you pay that debt off, you put it all to this one and pay that debt off early. And then you move it over and pay it off. Does that make sense? So it's this snowball effect. When families did this, they were, instead of being in debt, instead of being in debt for 28 years with their mortgage, they could be out of debt in 8 or 9 years, including their mortgage, because as they paid things off, they moved it over, and the same amount of money that was going to debt continued to go to debt. So that's important. We'll talk more about that. Usually those who own a home build wealth. You want to make sure you have adequate insurance. And then, again, David Bach said, over the years, I spent a lot of time studying the rich and the super rich. The more I've learned, the more I become convinced that most people who achieve great wealth have at least one thing in common, that is giving. So if you think of all the big wigs that have like billions of dollars and are worth lots of money, usually they're giving half, or some of them have signed this thing when they die that all their wealth goes to fighting cancer or to fighting hunger around the world and all these different things. They give, and people who tend to build wealth give. So we need you guys to become wealthy so that we can support our nonprofits and help fight hunger and all these other things. In the automatic millionaire, I think I have like 2 more slides, 2 or 3. This means that you have a system. So we're going to talk about this with investing. So if you only say you want to invest, start with $20 a month. You say, I'm going to set this up automatically that my paycheck or whatever comes into this account, and automatically on this date, it goes over here and gets invested in this Roth IRA or whatever it is that you choose. And then it starts building wealth, and you don't have to make the decision over and over and over again, because you've already said, I want to invest $20 a month, and that's what I want to do, and so I'm going to set it up automatically. And so the Automatic Millionaire, the whole book is just set up a system that automatically, without you having to decide over and over, goes over here, it invests in what you diversify in, and you build wealth. Automatic Millionaire. This is one of the things that I help families when I was your age. This green is when the red is when they would have been out of debt. This is their current debt, and then we'd get them out of debt here. If they continued to invest the same amount they were putting towards their debt, then by the end, when they were normally getting out of debt, they would have $750,000 in an account, right? Saving them $234,000 in payments eliminated. So, Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps. Has anybody heard of Dave Ramsey? Okay, good. In my other class, we read his Baby Steps book, Total Money Makeover. But he says and suggests to build wealth, you build an emergency fund first. You have that in case something comes up. You now no longer have to use a credit card or debt because you have an emergency fund. Then you pay off all your debt with a debt snowball. Then you save up a bigger emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. Then you start investing. Then you do college. Then you pay off your home early, and then you build wealth and give. So SMART goals, we're going to talk a little bit about this, but setting goals for your finances and for your life in different ways. For your, how many of you guys are freshmen? Okay, so most of you. So setting goals and about being productive and these type of things are key, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to productivity. But if you don't have goals, then you're not going to get as far as if you do have goals. We're going to end on these 10 financial principles. How much time do we have? 2 minutes? It's 12:45?
12:40 right now.
12:40. Is that when we get out? It's 12:40? Okay, we'll have to do this later then. So thanks, guys. So remember to do your quiz by the end of tomorrow, and then on Thursday it's 12 to 12:50. All right? Thanks.